Hi, everyone, and a big welcome to our talk about how we approach the challenge of designing and delivering a greenfield enterprise wide data platform by using togetherness, one of our company core values, and a team of teams setup. My name is Maj-Britt Christensen, and I lead the central platforms team at IKEA Retail, which is part of Ingka Group, the largest IKEA retailer and the largest IKEA franchisee. And with me today, I have
Marcus Wicklander, and I support Maj-Britt's organization as their agile coach.
Super. So today we will look at three different areas. First of all, of course, framing the challenge so that you understand the situation we had at hand, the approach that we used to attack this challenge, and then finally any key learnings and key takeaways that we had from our journey. So about a year and a half ago, a group of people in Group Digital at Ingka Group got together to solve a new type of platform challenge. Simplified, we wanted to build an enterprise-wide data platform. Not so simplified, it wasn't that simple. Unlike the existing platforms that we already had in place, this wasn't just an engineering effort. It wasn't even a product-led engineering effort. This entailed a new type of platform challenge that we hadn't seen before, and it went beyond the other enterprise-wide data platforms that we already had.
So we realized we needed a different approach, not just a platform strategy, but a team strategy. We approached this challenge with a simple but powerful principle, starting with the teams, the team first mindset. If the people doing the work aren't set up for success, the platform won't scale no matter how good the architecture is.
Super good. So today we will talk about how we approach this new type of platform challenge using a teams-focused strategy, as Marcus just mentioned, and then always with togetherness at the core. As you know, designing, developing, delivering a platform in itself can be tricky. It's no mean feat. We already had the platform as product mindset. We were going into this journey using experienced platform developers, and yet this platform was different. It was more complex, and it was more complex for a number of different reasons. First of all, we were basing it on the data mesh principles. So the data mesh principles are great as guidance on what you need to do in what parts of the organization for this type of journey. But they also introduce a certain type of complexity. For example, some parts of the data mesh principles are outside the engineering organization. The principles speak to decentralized data ownership, building data products, but they also talk around federated computational governance, which would typically be in the platforms organization. We also have organizational complexity to deal with, where we have a mix of centralized and federated groups in the organization involved in this work. We have varying levels of data maturity across the organization. So some parts are quite far on their data maturity journeys, some parts are not. And finally, the expertise that we needed to design, build, and deliver this platform were in different parts of the organization. So they weren't just in engineering, they weren't just in product. They were also in data management, they were in architecture, they were on the user side. So these were the four key reasons that we were all of a sudden dealing with a new type of complexity. So the question was, how do we get experts from across the enterprise to work on one vision, to decide on the boundaries of this new platform in a consistent, how do we drive adoption and delivery in a consistent way, all while they're traveling the same road at the same pace. So for us, this was a new type of elephant that we were asked to slice. And the starting point for us was quite simple. We had togetherness, one of our core values, and we knew that we could only tackle this type of platform um, complexity by starting with togetherness and doing it together. But of course, we had to go beyond that. We had the starting point, and then we were like, okay, but how do we actually approach this? Where do we start? And that's where we got Marcus involved, that we already had quite a long history of working with as a lean agile expert.
So, as Maj-Britt mentioned, the fact here is with this challenge was the high complexity, both technical but also organizational. So, with the team first mindset, we built a cross functional core team: product, architecture, data, governance, engineering, all co owning the platform vision and delivery. And here we're really focused on utilizing the power of an autonomous agile team. Its mission to reduce cognitive load and enable the agile teams to focus. This core team isn't a committee. This is a working team, together crafting and owning the vision as well as roadmap. The driving motivation to why we chose a team of teams setup was to build agile teams that are empowered, engaged, and aligned around one common mission, unleashing their full potential in a highly complex environment. It also lets us scale collaboration without scaling overhead, and teams stay autonomous but aligned through shared purpose and structure, because no single team can tackle this complexity alone. And we needed a model that combined autonomy with alignment, enabled cross functional collaboration, and allowed decision to happen where the work happens. And Team of Teams let us scale delivery without scaling silos. Also, we apply lean and agile principles at every level, incorporating design thinking and encouraging decentralized decision making, visualized flow, and fast feedback loops. We didn't aim for perfection from start, but we aimed for structure, clarity, and continuous improvement. And working from one portfolio backlog, one vision with one rhythm, lean portfolio management help us prioritize transparently, cutting noise, friction, and ambiguity. And perhaps most importantly, we remove unnecessary complexity, creating a safe, empowering space and move the decisions to where the information lives in the teams. By embedding architects, governance, and leads and data managers directly into the agile teams, teams had the expertise they needed to take full ownership. And that way, we didn't got blocked, and we removed the blockers before they can slow us down. It also makes us faster and even smarter together and more accountable. So when you succeed with an approach or a setup like this, what you want to hear from the engineers and what you want to say as an engineer is things like, I don't have to wait weeks for architecture or governance sign off. The right people are embedded in the team, so decision happens quickly and in context. Or we solve problems together, not in handovers. Or like, I know my work, I know how my work fits into the big picture, and it actually matters. So in a nutshell, this is the approach we adopted and strongly recommend. And here are some of our key takeaways. Maj-Britt.
Super. Thanks, Marcus. So, a couple of key takeaways and learnings from this journey, which has been, it's been super exciting, and a lot of aha moments along the way that we didn't expect from the start. So, for me, one of the top learnings was the importance of pacing. So, when you put together a core team at the start of your journey, and a group of experts as an engine room to facilitate this journey, you're putting together competences or experts who are used to a different pace. Typically, an architect might have a different pace in their work due to scope, for example, than an engineer. So, to ensure a consistent and continuous pipeline of work into the development teams, you need to have your pacing on point. it's super important. So that in itself is a key learning of make sure that the pacing is consistent, and that the core team is calibrated. Another learning and a big pro, I think, of this type of a setup is that you do things once and you do it right at the start. So basically, what you're doing is you're avoiding through this setup things like rework and technical debt at the end of the journey. By having a core team who are aligned from the start, you avoid things like engineering running on their own or even product and engineering. And then you're lacking maybe the architectural guardrails or alignment, and you find out too late. So, doing it once and doing it right from the start, super important benefit. The third big aha moment for me was that when you put together a core team of experts that are representatives of different parts of the organization, you also get as a bonus a big army of people who will help you to enable and adopt that platform. So, as an example, we have a data manager, we have a data architect in our core team. In their hinterland behind them, they have a data management and a data architect organization. And it means that when you go out and drive adoption of any particular component in your data platform, for example, they could be engaged to help you drive that enablement and adoption. On the other hand, what you typically have is one or two POs, PMs maybe, a couple of engineers. It's a much smaller group available to drive adoption and enablement. So the big army that comes with this type of setup is a huge benefit.
And one other key takeaway is really alignment on value delivery. And with this comes also transparent prioritization. And I think you touched upon that already a little bit, Maj-Britt. But when we talk about value delivery, it depends on who you are in the organization. If you represent the architectural vision, or if you represent needs here and now, basically. So within the core team and in the teams where we have multidisciplinary teams, we really get this efficient understanding of why are we doing things right now? Why are we doing this particular thing right now in the bigger context? So alignment on value delivery combined with multidisciplinary teams is a super key takeaway here. Continuous improvement is another key takeaway, and that is, sometimes it's challenging to get into improvement in a structured way, but working with an improvement backlog from start really helps us to get things to be better and better continuously, and it also helps us to create structure and discipline. And this, it really scales. You can scale this up and down, and the setup is adaptable from low complexity to high complexity or high complex working environments.
Absolutely spot on. So, we're coming to the end of our little talk here. What we have basically spoken around today is that how we approach an enterprise wide data platform journey at Ingka Group, IKEA Retail, through using a culture as of togetherness as our starting point, and then adopting a team of teams setup to actually slice this elephant in the right manner. Um, and we now have a setup that follows our data platform through its life cycle. It's important to understand that this is a continuous setup that we have. So this is a permanent setup that will live with this platform along its journey and can scale up and down accordingly, as Marcus mentioned. If you're planning to start or have just started a data mesh journey, you're likely to run into similar challenges and learnings that we have. So, yeah, that's we think that probably some of the things that we said today will benefit those of you working with data mesh principles or indeed are on a data platform journey. From my personal perspective, I think it was of huge value to have mandated decision making close to where the work is actually done, rather than having a typical steerco or even a project setup. Would I do it again? Absolutely. It's been of huge benefit and value to Ingka Group to do it this kind of way. And in fact, we are doing it again. We're now looking at our machine learning ops platform to see how we can use a scale down approach of the team of teams setup.
Great, Maj-Britt. So yeah, that's a thank you from us. Hope you learned something new and felt inspired, as inspired as we are by our journey.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Bye
luck.
bye.
Bye.